Top 9 separated by 9/10 of a second, then half a second further back. Make that by 8/10 of a second for the top 9 now, as Charlie Eastwood has been in and out. Zachary Robichon pitting with 2.5 minutes to go. He's done. He is done. So the 1:45.113 is the best bid for the Harter Racing team and their GT Aster.
It's down a little bit through sectors 1 and 2. Not that far off of Robichon's pace, though, despite not having personal best times in sector 1 and 2, and he'll stay on it and might get one more crack at it, John, with just 6 seconds on the clock. Needs to get across the timing and scoring line, and he does so.
Yeah, goes through. Philip Ellis, as the checkered flag goes out, so one more lap for the big V8. No, is he on it? The thing is, these drivers are so relaxed behind the wheel that even if I can see them doing their work, I'm never quite sure whether they are absolutely on it or not. The AWA Run 13 Autosports car coming through, still with that sort of black and pinstripe yellow, sort of Batmobile styling on that car, which works really well with the harder edges on the mid-engine Corvette. Charlie Eastwood in that car. Perth, Australia, early Friday to Andrew. Everything is done in the dark when it comes to IMSA for him. Yes, absolutely right. Some applause at the Harter Racing team, and for Zachary Robichon, well-earned applause. Now, he's going to have to take that car. So we do this a little bit differently at Daytona International Speedway, the World Centre of Racing. That's your top 5 rows.
Second time Zachary Robichon has qualified a car on pole for the Rolex 24. The first was 2022 when he was driving for Wright Motorsports, and he went on to win that year.
Coming down to 8 minutes to go. As yet, nobody in a GTD Pro car has gone faster than Zachary Robichon, but as I said before, that won't matter. All the 15 GTD Pros will start ahead of the 21 GTDs, and by the way, it is Nick Tandy who's qualifying the number 77 AO Racing Porsche.
He had a good first sector. He was trending to be within a 10th of Alexander Sims, but gave it all up in the middle sector. It looked like he was thinking about taking it to the pit lane just a second ago, but stayed out, realizing there is time for one more push lap. That lap was not enough to improve his position, still propping up the order in Rexy for AO Racing, but one last gasp here to try and get up another position or two, with the checkered flag now waving here at Daytona.
Thank you very much indeed. Joe in South Wales, tuned in. Swade in Oxford, loving the coverage from IMSA. And Josh in Orange, shout out to my fellow motorsport marshals over at Daytona, looking forward to going to Le Mans again this year. Nothing quite like it.
Honestly, now for the race, it doesn't look like it's going to be so different. I think we're going to have sort of 16, 18 degrees Celsius overnight, which sometimes at Daytona is not the case. So I think we're going to have a fairly stable ambient temperature. Obviously the track temperatures drop without the radiation from the sun, but yeah, it's looking good.
Congratulations, Alex, and we'll talk to you more in the race. Well done.
Moments ago, Ben Keating first went deep into turn 1. That's in the number 52 Brian Herta Autosport and PR1 Matheson car, and then picked up a lot of dust and debris on the tires and spun it around in the International Horseshoe. So the veteran, former class winner here at Daytona, regathers it, now trying to get back up to speed, but not the ideal start to a brief 15-minute qualifying session for Ben Keating.
And see if you can start and stop the stopwatch that's anywhere near 0.008 of a second. That is getting on for the blink of an eye.
PJ with a big moment down into 1, locked it up, got sideways, kicked out wide. So this is a bit of a throwaway lap. He needs to get around and get started on another lap before time expires.
Now, is that an understeer oversteer moment or
Yes.
an oversteer understeer moment? No, I think it's the back end going first, isn't it? The back end just giving up in the middle of the corner. But again, that's I wonder if that is where the wind catches the back of the car as well that way, and it's pushing it around. Because you do get a little bit of lee from the wind as you turn in because of the timing tower and the big screen there. But he's just come out of that, and there's off again for into Europol, exactly the same place.
Yeah, it's a theory worth consideration, certainly. I'd also throw in to the conversation the fact that it is warmer today than it has been right now at any point in the previous week and a half. 84 degrees on track doesn't sound like much, but we were topping out in the low to mid 70 track temperatures last week during the Roar, and it's just been creeping up in temperature ever since.
The 04 CrowdStrike racing by APR. I expect to see him better than that. Is he struggling with a problem, or is he doing the George thing and just building up? He's on what will be his last lap now, waiting for cars to come to the line. It looks like into Europol, and Jeremy Clark with that scant margin of 0.008 is coming in to the pit lane. Meantime, a problem out on the circuit.
That's Naveen Rao, Era Motorsport, who's gone for a spin. That was in the International Horseshoe, and he'll desperately want to get going. Checkered flag is out. A red flag would have cost him his best 2 lap times, but he's able to continue on. It looks like he'll do no better than 7th for this year's 24 Hours of Daytona.
Improvements coming through. Who was that? That was Ben Keating. Improved on his last lap. George Kolovos improved on his last lap. The number 343 up to 6th position. Naveen still to complete. It's the only car to complete, but he will not improve because of that mistake. So it is the self-styled Europe's fastest bakery, and Jeremy Clark will bring the Inter-Europol competition machine. The number 6 Porsche is Kevin Estre, the number 7 is Felipe Nasser, Jack Aitken in the number 31 Cadillac, Renger van der Zande in the Acura number 93. Let me see, BMW's Dries Vanthoor and Marco Wittmann, 24 and 25. Tom Blomqvist in the number 60 Acura, and we're waiting for the 10 Cadillac, the Aston Martin Valkyrie, the Heart of Racing Valkyrie, and a couple of others as well. I expect them all to come out. Here's the expected stops for a change of tyres, and here is the Valkyrie, the Heart of Racing car, heading towards pit out now. And I will tell you, I expect it to be Ross Gunn, but let's see if that is absolutely right. I couldn't see because I forgot my binoculars, sorry. It is indeed Ross Gunn. Not a bad guess as he went out onto the circuit. And Jack Aitken, we've mentioned. Louis Delatraz also taking out the number 40 Cadillac. So I think that's everybody we've talked about now. Just have a look to see if there's anybody I haven't mentioned. No, everybody has been mentioned. Now, possibly a change of tyres, possibly not here, but this is the first time that this Heart of Racing Valkyrie has qualified here. Even in the car, it sounds extraordinary. At the Western Horseshoe at the moment, letting other cars go through on the short chute now. But the acceleration is phenomenal. I call it a short chute, but from one of the slowest corners on the circuit, they're up into 4th gear. Now onto the high banks. Ross Gunn with the let's remind ourselves, a detuned V12 from the road-going version of this, and it's no easy thing to do. Cosworth working very hard with Heart of Racing and Aston Martin to give this car, to get it in the right performance window. It absolutely looks like an Aston Martin from the front end of this car. the aggressive strakes on the rear diffuser and indeed the rear wing gives it a very different look to the rest of the GTPs or the LMH cars over in the WEC.
Well, it stands out for so many reasons. It's a non-hybrid. It looks different. It sure sounds different. And I think there were a lot of fans here today. And the possible problem for one of the BMWs, that car looked slow coming out of turn 1, but is up to speed now. Marco Wittmann driving for BMW M Team WRT, and he did go for a little spin. Lost the rear at Apex, able to whip it back around and didn't lose too much time, but you have to wonder about the state of those Michelin tires. Might have 4 flat spots on them after a lengthy slide down through turn 1.
Comes a new sponsor on there is Phillips 66 for Petroleum on the red, white and black Honda racing car. Yeah, that was coming out of the Western Horseshoe that it all went wrong. Almost sounded, is he out of fuel? He's out of fuel. They got their fuel calculations half a lap or a lap wrong, maybe. How bizarre, given that they've got a petroleum sponsor as their new major sponsor on the side of that. Well, it did sound like it wasn't running quite right, possibly not on all of the 6 cylinders. Checkered flag is out, waiting for anybody to improve. Well, there were improvements on that last lap for Tom Blomqvist, for Kevin Estre, Philippe Albuquerque and Nico Pino. And they have ended up in 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. Louis Delatraz, the only car, and Marco Wittmann, who haven't gone through the checker, but I think they were already... Oh, here comes the BMW now. Marco Wittmann goes through. He'll be in 10th position. And Delatraz still out there in the 40 Cadillac Wayne Taylor machine. That was an improvement on the last lap by Marco Wittmann, but the BMW Team WRT cars in 9th and 10th. Very similar lap times, in fairness.